We're all here trying to escape the concrete maze, but maybe the real solution is to try to create a green one. Let me explain what I'm trying to say. There is a common problem that a lot of people suffer from. I'm going to call it digital suffocation. I think that's a good way to put it, good way to word it. You know what I mean when I say digital suffocation. I think it's pretty obvious, right? It's the addiction to the phone, to the computer, to the TV, to the smart TV. That feeling that you can't quite get away from the notifications, the constant notifications. You ever feel that way sometimes? Like you can't get away from the phone or the calls or the emails or the Slack notifications or the Discord dinging bells. And there's a big contrast between chaos and peace, two polar opposites. When you get out into the country, get out into nature, get away from the big cities, that contrast becomes much more apparent, much more stark, more noticeable, I would say. It's always there, but it becomes a lot more noticeable. You might say the saturation gets turned up on that contrast between the chaos of the city and the peace of the country, the calmness of being out in nature. In a lot of ways, nature is the best natural antidote to whatever mental health sickness you're going through. I know the popular remedy these days is all kinds of different drugs, but sometimes you just need to get away from the noise of the city and out into the quiet countryside and let your brain unwind a little bit. Let that be your antidote, your cure. There's also a special air of mystery when you get out into nature. The street maps don't work anymore. Can't necessarily rely on GPS to tell you every little turn to take. Sometimes you just have to start exploring randomly, see where the trails lead. Sometimes those trails just lead to dead ends. And there's something about the fun of just exploring a mystery, not knowing exactly where it's going to lead and not knowing exactly where it's going to put you. I don't know, there's this air of mystery, there's this air of excitement that comes sometimes from that unknown. Comes from not knowing exactly where you're going to turn up. You not know exactly where you're going to pop back out of the wilderness and back into a spot where you suddenly realize where you are. And there are some specific mental exercises you can do that'll sort of help you with this mental chaos and unpeace. One of them is to kind of picture a green labyrinth around you, like a maze made up of, I don't know, the trails and the woods, whatever you find yourself in, whatever that might be. The sort of mental mystery that you conjure up in your mind of this labyrinth, this maze, gives your brain something to work on, gives it something productive to do. As it sort of untangles the maze and mentally works its way through, you have these little wins. As a Robinson 44. I flew one of those and little Nettie goes to war. Yeah, give yourself this little puzzle, this little mental puzzle of a green labyrinth or maze. And it gives your brain a little challenge, a little puzzle, and a little win. It's always nice to get a little win. Why don't we relocate? There is certain beauty in unpredictability. To quote the great Jerry Seinfeld, do you like jazz? Reason I ask is jazz music, and this is also true. This is also true of jam bands and Southern rock to some extent. Jam bands. There's an unpredictability. There's a level of unplanned unpredictability to some jazz music and jam bands where members of the band take turns sort of stepping out and improvising. And it's different every night. They don't play it the same way every night. They play something different every night. And there's a beauty to certain levels of unpredictability like that. And the same happens when you get out in nature and you let yourself, oh, airboat's coming back in. Hear that. Same thing happens when you get out in nature and let yourself sort of escape away from the known trails and the known paths on Google Maps. Let yourself just sort of start exploring. You find a very similar unknown, unexpected, unplanned, almost improvisational hiking. Hey, I just coined a new phrase, improvisational hiking. I think there's probably too many boats racing up and down this channel to find any fishies. There is an alligator floating down the channel a little bit around close to those reeds on the left. And he's going to be hanging around where he can find food, right? So
How far away is Washington from your house?
So I'm going to encourage you to try and get out of your predictable Google Maps paths and trails and find a spot that's unknown to you. Maybe let yourself get slightly lost. I'm not talking about dangerous lost, but I'm talking about, you know, a safe kind of lost.
46 right now.
Well, if you stuck with me this long, you might be interested in hanging out with me on my weekly live stream on Wednesday nights. So I want to invite you to come out to this channel on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Most fun I have all week. A lot of nice folks here in this community hang out, get together. Man, those airboats are loud, huh? A lot of nice folks get in touch with each other. We hang out in the chat a little bit. All right, let's see if they like the orange better. Yeah, we always have a good time on the live stream. Man, it's getting noisy. I'm gonna have to wait till these airboat gets out of here. Pretty loud. So like I was saying, I will see you on Wednesday night. Come on out, say hi in the chat so I know you're there. Say hi to all the folks, get to meet some new friends. Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here at this channel. Hang out on the live stream. It'll be the best time you have all. I almost got a fish or a piece of rock. I'm not sure. Something had on real good though. That gator's moved out in the middle of the channel, and there's a second one out there now. Let's go see if that was a rock or if that was a fishy. Maybe he'll bite again. If it was a fishy. All right, well, nice quiet spot has been overrun by the visiting tourists, which I guess is fine. So I will take my leave, go find somewhere else to hang out. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Hope you got something out of this. I'll see you next time.